1-1. Memories of Previous Life and Maiden Games. You are listening at famvetv.info. Royal Lapis Lazuli School. This is a learning ground attended by royalty, nobility, and some civilians with magic aged between 12 and 16. Studying academia and socialization. After graduation, for a year, each becomes an apprentice on the road ahead. What makes you a knight, what makes you a samurai, each begs your senior to teach you to be alone. A bridesmaid who is to be married will go to her wedding home for a year to train as a bridesmaid. It was now during the afternoon class, but a girl, one of the students, made a noise and rose out of her chair. She is Tiara Rose Lapis Clementer. She is the daughter of the Marquis family in this country and the fiancée of Prince Wang. Something comes to the attention of the students, but Tiara Rose silently roughened her breath and distorted her face painfully. What's the matter, Tiara? Ugh! Halt Knights, the same class and fiancé of Tiara Rose, rises first and heads under Tiara Rose. This is followed by a friendly warrant with her, who looks worried, but Halt Knight's call is also vain, and Tiara Rose flutters on the spot. Honey pink fluffy hair dances and beautiful eyes are tightly closed. Which warrant was the scream that soared up? Oh no! Me, villain! Leaving a grunt that no one could understand, Tiara Rose let go of consciousness. Yay, new stills! Now the Halt Knight's route is a complete offense. With a groaning voice, the sight of a girl playing a maiden game floats in Tiara Rose's brain, and the stage of that game was here, the kingdom of Lapis Lazuli. I didn't mean to say, she shouts. But the question is solved in an instant. Because a ton of information came into Tiara Rose's brain. This is information from my previous life. It was reincarnated into the world of the popular maiden game Lapis Lazuli's Ring. A magical fantasy maiden game reminiscent of the Middle Ages. Attackers are princes, brother-in-law, knights, mages, and school healers. I could instantly understand that, Tiara Rose, but soon I also understood my position. She stands in the way of heroine in this game. That she's a villain's warrant. The heroine of this maiden game is the adopted daughter of Count Borderline. She had a powerful magic power, from a civilian to an aristocratic adoptive daughter. To this school in Wangdu, comes as an integrator. Heroine incorporated it 2 years ago. Tiara Rose remembered her past life memories, but of course she also remembers firmly the present life she lives as Tiara Rose. Calculate the date and count to the end of the game. And soon enough, I know it's too late, because today is the day before the graduation party, which is the ending. Tomorrow at the party, Tiara Rose is forced to break her engagement to her fiancé, Halt Knights Lapis Lazuli Lactamut. He is the main offensive character of this maiden game and the first prince of the Lapis Lazuli kingdom until he was tied to heroine. He was the fiancé of Tiara Rose, a villain's warrant. Sucks. Tiara Rose's voice, slowly opening her eyes and squeaking, was supposed to disappear into the air. But there was a response to that voice. Are you awake? Yet, it's good to sleep. I'm arranging a carriage right now. Ha! Master Halt Knights. Me, It's the first time you've fallen. Because I'm all about the clams. Did you even think about pulling it off? Tiara Rose swallows much more endurance that she is about to raise her voice to the words of Halt Knights. I think they said something rude, but even if Halt Knights is the king prince of this country, Tiara Rose was anxious to see what he was up to as he was firmly attacked by heroines. If you say something that bothers you, they'll tell you it's disrespectful. No. I'm sorry for the inconvenience because I don't seem to be feeling very well. For once, I'm Tiara's fiancé. Once. To the words, Tiara Rose leans down. I have no choice. Anyway, Halt Knights is obsessed with Akali, the heroine. It's like a Japanese name. Lapis Lazuli's ring is where the player enters his name. That's why heroines don't have officially set names. Tiara Rose decided to think it must be that name because it's a game for the Japanese. I'm having a graduation party tomorrow, but I need a little help. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to escort you in. Don't seem sorry at all and tell Tiara Rose that Halt Knight stays asleep in bed. Blonde hair, blue eyes. I admire that look even when someone sees it, but now I'm looking terribly cold. Look at Tiara Rose, who doesn't respond to anything, but Halt Knights says nothing. I understand. Tomorrow, I'm going to the venue by myself. After a while of silence, it was Tiara Rose who opened her mouth. How humiliating is a party where your fiancé doesn't escort you. But she knows that Halt Knights and Heroine are waiting for her at the party venue where she enters by herself and starts her own culpability event. I've played the game many times. Of course Tiara Rose knows what the development will be. The play route is Halt Knights of the King Prince, the first prince of the Lapis Lazuli kingdom. He was the most popular, it's already even. Drowning Heroine. Whisper sweet dialogue with a gentle smile, and after the ending have a grand wedding in a cathedral that only royalty can use. Before I met Heroine, Tiara Rose was in her fiancé position. But Tiara Rose doesn't have to give Halt Knights to hit the Heroine with tough words. It is tomorrow's graduation party that will be convicted of that. But how the hell are you willing to plead not guilty? Is it because Tiara Rose had a reincarnated soul? It doesn't seem as bad as the game I remember. Indeed, at the nightclub, he cautioned, I don't dance twice with men who aren't even fiancés, he said. I have a fiancé, he told the man who had a fiancé when he did the body touch. It may have turned out to be a tough tone, but it was common sense, and the young lady, who was a male fiancé, was shaking her face anxiously. What is the problem with Tiara Rose, the Marquis maiden who gives lapis, paying attention to the Count's maiden? Unless, of course, this was the opposite position. Besides, Tiara Rose is a Marquis family with the title Lapis. There will only be enough in this country to count, such as those who can defy title of Lapis. A house of great merit for the royal family has the honor of adding the Lapis of the Lapis Lazuli kingdom to the family name. This is very expensive, and it is not what you get. For this reason, it is the nobility who gave Lapis the next power over the royal family. Next, it follows with the Duke, Marquis, Count, Viscount and Baron. You snort quite honestly. Halt Knight's face with her eyes open to surprise enters Tiara Rose's sight. Tiara Rose has been a firm fiancée until now. Admittedly, she had a tough spot, but for that matter, she had been educated to be queen since she was a little girl. It shall not be seen lightly by the less privileged. Nor should Halt Knights, Prince Wang, act lightly. Tiara Rose must socialize perfectly and take a good look at Halt Knight's behavior. Otherwise, Halt Knights is a social study, and sometimes it's like going out in a rush to the city. Tiara Rose is considered a villain's warrant in the game. But some of those spicy words were firmly rooted in his love for Halt Knights, the king's prince. I realized that because she was reincarnated and became a Tiara Rose herself. But that doesn't seem to have been properly communicated to Master Halt Knights. Because you can't be selfish and trouble Master Halt Knights. Usually, would you say it's insane, such as not accompanying your fiancé? What, are you saying the obvious? This prince, you know that, but you still want me to go in alone. Impossible. Tiara Rose gets swept up in Halt Knight's words and deeds. If ever, of course I paid attention. As a fiancé, as Prince Wang, he said he should never act embarrassed, but not now. Tiara Rose has already given up her memories of her past life. Tomorrow's ending is a matter of decision. And I can see from Halt Knight's attitude that he doesn't attach importance to Tiara Rose. Her voice will not reach Halt Knight's right now. Well, fine. It would be more helpful if you could convince me. Yes. Then I'll go back. After this, I have a promise I can't take off. Thank you for caring for me when I fell. A squire who kept the door of the infirmary outside opens. Halt Knights left intact and one Tiara Rose was left indoors. You went out of your way to pay people. You're right, otherwise you won't be able to tell me a thing I don't like. In a shimmering room, Tiara Rose's voice sounds well. One sigh, and it bothers my head what I'm going to do. Why don't we just miss tomorrow's graduation party? Such an idea passes through the back of the brain, but it strikes right off. It is not nice to hear from the outside that the daughter of the Marquis family, who gives lapis, is not present. I just hate to bother my parents. What would have happened to the convicted villain warrant? Yes, it was definitely an expulsion. In the game, there is no detailed description of Tiara Rose after the plea. I recall, however, that there was a sentence stating that he had been deported from the country at the ending. LOL. It's good not to be condemned to death or anything like that. So relieved, then I think it might be fun to reopen and live outside the country though Marquis, if Prince Wong breaks his engagement. It's hard to hope for a happy marriage. There will be tons of Lapis titles and guys flocking to power, but I refuse to do that. Outside the country, making love, living as a civilian. Yeah, that could be happy, too. Tiara Rose's words, brought about by the puffiness, were very soft, not in the difficult tone he had ever spoken to Halt Knights. Besides, if I marry such a prince, the absolute future must be a streak of hard work. Tiara Rose sighs another time. Tomorrow, I wonder what the hell will happen. I have anxiety in my chest, but I know how it unfolds. Be quiet and accept the divestiture and gently exit the party venue. So determined, Tiara Rose waited for the ready carriage to go home. Listen to the full novel at famvetv.info, direct link in the description.